Sorry. Nope. Okay. Nope. We're gonna take it one more time. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to the Seireitei. Was that right? Did I get it right this time?
Yeah. Welcome to the Seireitei, a Bleach fandom community podcast.
A Bleach fandom community podcast brought to you by Sand.
Aizen's tea party.
It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
For everybody.
It's like we didn't agree on something ahead of time, and now we're not in unison.
We spoke about this, Dale.
We've spoken about this at length, actually.
I'm
not
we
angry. I'm just disappointed. I need you to know that.
Oh, it's right. It's fine.
Well, I guess. Hey, look, we've promised our fans that we would do an episode and that we would keep this podcast going. So we probably need to put aside our differences and just get on with it, huh?
Fine. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, geez. Okay, I guess we can make this work. Yeah, it's. Hey, I love you and I respect you.
I love you too.
Oh my god. Hey, okay, so as you can tell, everybody, Del and Lethan are here on Maine, welcoming you to the Seireitei, a Bleach fandom community podcast brought to you by so many things all the time. It's just the two of us today, and we are here to talk about just 2 episodes, so we decided to let the chaos descend. And I'm kind of not mad at it, personally. Oh, geez. It's that whole thing of, we have the form, and now that the form is set, we can be subversive, and we can be silly, and it's more than okay.
Yeah, and if some poor fucker listens to this as our first episode, then that's on you, dude.
Yeah, it's also, I gotta say, this would be a really unexpected place to pick Bleach up. I don't feel like anybody starts Bleach with episode 145.
No.
Or maybe, I don't know, I suppose if it's just on and I guess if I'd started Bleach with this episode, I don't know that I would be a particularly big Bleach fan, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
I guess, no shade to the Hueco Mundo sneak entry. Actually, no, I take it back. I'm happy to be shady about the Hueco Mundo sneak entry arc. I think it takes too long. I think it's important content, but I think it takes too long.
I completely agree. I felt like some of my IQ was slithering out my ear, to be fair, and like
that little lizard slithering into the sand.
Yep, that was my IQ slowly dropping. It already dropped enough after watching Eternals the other night, and this was just
oh really?
It's fine, yeah. I actually say that Eternals suffers from the Bleach effect of having too many characters and not enough time to properly digest all of them and give them decent
fair
stories.
Enough. Okay, I haven't seen Eternals. I've been watching Bake Off, and I've been watching Succession,
nice.
Which are 2 really different energies. Yeah. And I can't tell, the other one I've been doing is Ted Lasso, and I have no idea whether that ups my IQ or lowers it. I feel like it's a fairly even mix. So I'm right back where I started, which
I
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. So I guess we're still going to adhere to our structure. We're not going to chuck everything out the window just because we're both feeling. I was about to say because we're both feeling loopy, and then I went, that's an Iran car.
Yeah, that's where we are. That's exactly where we are.
That's exactly where we are. R.I.P. We are never going to see that character again. They literally told us that. Loopy's just done.
So we can make all the jokes we want.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know why I felt oddly attached to him during this watch through, and I'm sort of sad. Oh no, am I gonna write Loopy fanfic now, missing scenes and shit? I never thought about that, but honestly, I might.
Do you know what though? That's the cool thing about fanfic and art and things, is you get to explore other parts of characters that just were on screen for a hot minute and then we're gone.
Yeah. There is something about Loopy and Yumichika, seeing each other that I'm now getting unexpectedly hit in the feels by.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting interaction.
Yeah, and maybe Rangiku ends up in the mix somehow. Okay. We're not here to talk about those episodes. We should probably stay at least a little bit focused.
Yeah, let's try.
We could do that. Okay. I guess, oh geez, I got the first recap, so I guess I can just kick it off with that and then we'll see how we go. Yeah?
You sure can, yeah.
Okay, sick, tight. We're gonna do that. Hey, okay. First episode we're covering today is episode 145, which is called The Espada Gather, Aizen's Royal Assembly. So, in episode 145, with determination and finality, Chad punches the lights out of Demora, and Uryu flexes a little bit by informing the defeated Ice Slinger that it isn't Soul Reapers that Aizen should fear, but Quincy's. Our heroes seem pretty confident in their victory until the room begins to collapse around them. Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad are yeeted out into the wild white sand waste that is Hueco Mundo, a land of eternal night where the barren landscape is broken only by brittle trees and a giant palace? Aha! This, Ichigo and Uryu and Chad correctly surmise, must be Las Noches, Aizen's palace, and Orihime's prison. The gang starts sprinting, with marginal success, toward Las Noches, where, it turns out, Sosuke Aizen is holding a morning meeting, featuring a lot of hot tea, and more than a few hot Iran cars. And this, we learn, is Aizen's elite army, his Espada. Aizen informs his Espada that Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad have invaded, and tells them to return to their respective palaces, where they are to sit tight and wait for their enemies to arrive. Grimmjow, rebellious as ever, doesn't like this plan, but he is subdued by Aizen, who literally brings Grimmjow to his knees by emitting his immense Reiatsu. After that, we shift back outside to check on our running boys who are not making much progress, so they pause, they take a seat for a little bit, and Ichigo waxes uncharacteristically philosophical about the nature of life for a hot second, when, all of a sudden, a giant sandworm bursts from the ground behind them, and it's chasing a little girl and two super goofy-looking hollows, which... yup!
Oh, and that brings us into episode 146, Her Name is Nell, Appearance of the Strange Arrancar. This episode starts with an Arrancar reveal party, where we find out that Nell isn't a little human, but rather an Arrancar with a broken mask. We get introduced to her brothers, who, honestly, names I'm going to butcher, is Pesce?
Pesce, yeah.
Yeah, Pesce and Don Dochaka.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
As well as their pet Bawa Bawa, who is nobody's favourite characters in the history of Las Noches ever. Like, I have no love for any of these three characters. Nell teaches us a little about how the Arrancar are numbered before we're interrupted with a game of eternal tag that no one consented to, which ends with a massive hollow coming out of the sand. Here we meet Runuganga. Is that right? Runuganga.
Yeah.
Runuganga. Fucking
we
words.
only said it like one time. Yeah, whatever. The Arrancars have really unusual names. I'm sorry. Go on.
Giant sand hollow, guardian of the white sand. After failing to thwart the enemy, Ichigo finds out that his weakness is water, and this just in time for Rukia to show up and freeze the sucker where he stands. Renji and Rukia scold Ichigo, read between the lines, punching him, about not using his crystal ball to figure out that they'd be coming to help. After some cute Kate-related stories, our heroes continue again towards the wall, only to be stopped once again by the Guardian of the Sand.
Oh boy. You know what? We're actually in exactly the right mood to talk about these episodes, because it's just, they're just bizarre a little bit. Like, I think the structure of Aizen and his, like, which, I don't know, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe there's this deliberate contrast between the clean lines and the deliberate structure of Aizen assembling his Espada in Las Noches and formalizing that we have to drink tea before we can actually talk about important matters and all of this, and then the chaotic, windswept sandscape of Hueco Mundo outside where everybody just runs around.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't realize Aizen was British. This was like the first
What?
insight into me. No, I'm joking. This is me being
Oh,
very
because of the
facetious.
tea. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
because of
tea
the
is
tea.
also very Japanese, though.
That is true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. It's
Mm.
just that whole like you can't do anything without having a cuppa, and it's as soon as he
Mm.
was like we need tea, and I was like, of course you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course you
No,
do.
he's right.
And then it's that whole like sitting on a throne thing, that whole imagery. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and the title of the
Okay.
episode is in fact or like the translation I'm looking at is it's Royal Assembly, which I think does
Yeah.
kind of refer back to. Do you remember when Nomi read that poem? I think it was just last
About the
episode.
king. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it began, one translation began "My Lord" or something, and I think this is just further cementing the idea that it's not currently. I feel like it's less deity adjacent and more lord and ruler king like adjacent
Yes.
because yeah, yeah. So even though like we did hear, oh, who was it? So we don't have names for a lot of these Espada, by the way. It's kind of just the ones that we've met before. But there is I noted, and others might have done it, but the Espada that seems like femme presenting, like a larger chest, blonde hair, that person, called Aizen Sama in the sub, which is like a perfectly appropriate thing to call somebody in a position of royalty. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't even remember how they refer to him now.
I feel like it's Lord Aizen. I haven't
Yeah,
watched the dub in a minute, but Lord Aizen is like
that's definitely in the
that
manga.
exists in
That's
my. Oh, maybe
yeah.
that's why. Okay, okay.
But to be fair, I do think it is translated into that for the anime as well.
Sure.
I just didn't pay attention enough to care. I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel about these episodes where we are right now in the
Mm,
series. To be fair.
yeah. I would have been
Uh,
far more content, I think, if well, okay, I feel like we spent a lot of time outside in Hueco Mundo establishing what that is, even though I
yeah.
felt fairly clear about what that was fairly early on. I do think it was helpful, Uryu's explanation where he said, oh, the concentration of reishi in the air here is really, really thick, so I can perform well as a Quincy, but it doesn't even seem like it was that different to the concentration of reishi in Soul Society necessarily, especially
Yeah.
because oh, my sweet boy, my sweet son, thought to carry around that miniature spirit core with him the whole time on the off chance that they ever encountered something that they would need to bust through like they did when they were back with Kukaku. Look at him being prepared. I'm so proud of him.
Okay.
Well,
I'm about to shatter that reality when it comes to manga and anime differences, but let's I'm
oh,
sorry.
oh, jeez. Well,
It's not
okay, it wasn't
Nomi
like a
breaking hearts
favorite.
today, it's
No,
just
that's
me.
fine. I know. Well, I mean, I've come to expect that from you
Yeah,
at
that's
this
true.
point, so.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Um, do you think it's a compliment? Do you feel
I
that it's a
don't
compliment?
know. I don't know. Do you want to be a heart? Did you want to break hearts? Not
I,
necessarily, no.
well, I guess it's situationally dependent, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
If I had a heart, it might be broken. Pure hypothetical. I can't say. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Then I guess I'm not going to dwell too much further on that specific moment, even though I thought it was. I don't know. I guess it was also unclear what they were breaking through, right? Because it was that windstorm, that tornado, something like that. It wasn't like a wall of Seki, which was the case in the Seireitei. So good on Uryu for being prepared and for taking it into consideration that Aizen might have thought to establish similar security measures. But
Yeah, that's true.
if it's not canon,
Yes.
then it's not canon. R.I.P.
I mean, at least he was prepared in the anime. That is the important thing.
Yeah, the anime doesn't. I don't feel that the anime does Uryu dirty. I think Uryu is fairly accurately represented in the anime for the most part.
You think so? I always think they make him into comic relief for most of the time.
Uh, huh. Maybe it's because those aren't the parts of him that I focus on.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And I guess it's enough that I'm not bothered by it. Or maybe it could also just be that like when I read the manga, there are instances where he is asserting himself loudly because there are elements of like silliness to him in the manga as well if you think
Yeah, oh
about the
yeah.
way that he's like so serious about the home handicrafts club even right from the beginning. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's true to who he is. But then he often feels the need to overcompensate because so much of his character is driven by this need to prove himself and this need to, like, both to himself and to others, because he was raised with someone who never gave him any praise ever. And in fact, there's no way he received validation from Ryukin growing up, right? There's just
Not
no
from
way.
Ryukin, but probably
No.
from his grandfather, I can see.
Yeah, that's true.
At least getting a little bit, he did.
But he lost his grandpa at a pretty early age. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Ugh.
Okay, well, anyway, bringing it back to the excitement, LOL, that is episode 145 really quick.
Yeah, what did you think? What was your first thoughts of Hueco Mundo when you saw it? Like,
I didn't remember that the sand was white. I don't know why that jumped out at me this time. I remembered sand and I remembered desert, but I didn't remember that the sand was white, and I don't know why.
Someday bleached the sand.
Wait, I never thought about. I mean, it's not literally what happened, but it's just like,
No.
because there's also that ongoing thing of like, why is it called Bleach? And there are like 4 or 5 different reasonable answers that always get tossed around, but I never thought about it being white as a thematic thing.
Was it not Tite Kubo himself that confirmed it's because he's a Nirvana fan?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's totally part of it. And that's why all of the characters have like theme songs from real life bands and stuff, because he's actually a pretty big music fan and like a rock fan for sure.
Because Burn the Witch is also the name of a Nirvana song.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yep. So it's,
go figure.
Yep, Bleach was the name of Nirvana's first album. He was a big
Yeah.
Nirvana fan.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So maybe he was just like, I'm gonna make this work now. I mean, that's fair enough. Like, if you find a cool word and then you if that's the foundation for building something memorable and exciting, then like, how mad am I gonna be? It's my
to be
favorite
fair,
fucking anime. God damn. So
yeah, I think Bleach has got the best name out of the big 3. Like, Naruto's just named after its main character.
That's
and One
boring.
Piece is boring. But Bleach is cool.
One Piece I get. One Piece makes sense because it's directly related to what the whole entire thing is about. I'm not bothered by that. Also, Dragon Ball makes sense. Like, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like,
Dragon Ball Z.
What? Oh, it never occurred to me, but like, One Piece and Dragon Ball Z both are like, oh, we're looking for this thing, so let's name the anime and the manga that. And Bleach is just like, what are,
Music, yay!
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I like Bleach's naming convention better. Pick a word that means something to you as a person and just make it work.
Yeah. And the fact
like
that he was able to make it work is actually very impressive.
Yeah.
Aw, Kubo-sensei. Oh, man. Okay, so, what's your answer to that question? What was your first reaction to seeing or experiencing Hueco Mundo?
I thought it was quite barren. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I expected the darkness, but the sand, like what you said, the sand was a surprise to me, and the little trees. But I was expecting there to be like a lot more hollows just flitting about. And we get that one little lizard thing, and then we get the guy that pops out the sand. And of course, they're running around cars. But like, for how vast the place is, you didn't even see any like distant hollows or any, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing.
That's a really good point. Especially because you've got 3 people entering into this space who have pretty incredible spiritual pressure, which means they would be tasty food for a lot of hollows. You'd think that would be a pretty big draw.
Agreed.
Oh, weird. What are they all doing? Huh.
And maybe it's just because they've came in so close to Las Noches, like and they're staying away from that place because of Aizen, and so who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Except for something that I did sort of want to touch on, actually, because I think it gives us insight into hollows and Iran cars that we haven't quite had before. So Ice Ringer, who is like actually very cool. He's just only around for 2 seconds and has a slightly bigger ego than is actually warranted, but that's like a fairly common theme among Iran cars, I think, regardless. Right before that room collapses, he says that he says that I grain of salt here. What Ice Ringer says is that Lord Aizen fears nothing. Whether that's true or not is certainly up for debate, but Ice Ringer says that. I see no reason to think that that's not what Ice Ringer believes. So he says Lord Aizen fears nothing, and because of that, hollows and Arankars who were born out of fear flock to Aizen. So there's something about this image and presentation of fearlessness that is appealing to these creatures that were born out of fear, which is very cult leadery now that I think about it. But
And was that the subs wording of it, was fears nothing?
Yes, that was,
Okay.
I have that in quotes in my notes, so yes, that was how it was translated.
The dub and the manga both have fears no one.
Oh,
As in
fascinating.
a person rather than anything.
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna say, don't hold me to that. I tend to, if I have something in quotes in my notes, I tend to take it straight from the sub. I don't actually remember, though, but I would say I'm a solid 80 to 85% sure that it said nothing, simply because of the way I took these notes, and I know my own note-taking patterns. Not true, though. Well, you know.
Yeah, because I'd taken a note
yeah.
of it as well. In the manga, the way that it happens is so much more impactful than the way that it happens in the anime.
Ooh,
Where it's just like in the anime, there's like a lot of waffle, and I don't know how it was in the sub. Maybe he emphasized it a bit more in the sub. But when he says, Lord Aizen fears no one, it's just kind of in amongst this explanation of the moon and blah blah blah. But in the manga, it's like he says that before he goes on to the explanation, where he just looks at Uri, who hasn't stopped for a chat, by the way. Uri is still running away.
yeah,
He's just like, Lord Aizen fears no one. And then it's him still talking as we transition into the next scene. But it's just a bit
okay,
more like, it's a bit more emphasis on it, which I thought was really cool. But in the anime,
okay.
it felt a bit lost in the explanation.
Yeah, I agree. And it was also, I suppose this is probably true in the manga, but it was clearly in direct response to, oh, God bless him, to Uryu, who,
Yep.
as far, like, Uryu self-identifies as, like, the last Quincy, right? Like, that's a thing he's been like, we're not really around. Like, that's a thing, right?
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
making that up. Yeah, okay. So, the idea that he's like, Lord Aizen should fear Quincy's, I'm like, okay, so you and your dad? Like, that was a very unusual thing to say, I
Yeah,
thought.
it's like, because I know that he used the plural in the anime for me as well. He says is the Quincy's, but in the manga he says, tell him it's not the Soul Reapers he should fear, but the Quincy. So
Yeah.
he makes it singular. But yeah, either way he's talking
Oh.
about himself, and I'm like, that's like, is that just him riding the high of having defeated an opponent and he's got like that rush of endorphins we get? It's kind of like, see, after I've won a Pokemon Unite match in Pokemon Unite, I'm like, yeah, I can fucking
Mm,
take on anybody. Then I go into another game and I get my ass kicked.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know? But
Yeah.
like that rush of endorphins you get after winning something, is it just that's talking more than him
Yeah.
thinking logically?
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I don't really get why Uryu said that. It doesn't seem, that's a little bit egotistical. Like,
Yes.
Uryu can be prideful, and a little arrogant sometimes, but he's not egocentric. He doesn't have like a really big head on him or anything like that. He's confident when it's backed up by something that he can point to, right? Like, he's a skilled fighter, and so he doesn't, it makes sense to him if he's in situations where he's like, I can take you down, or you're underestimating my power, or something like that. If he says something like that, it's usually because he actually believes it to be true. It's not just some big shot being like, oh, I can kick your ass. Like, that's not
Yeah.
Uryu's MO.
Yeah, agreed. Because I mean, look at the fight he had with Mayuri. You know what I mean? Like, I think
Oh my
that's a good
god, I know.
example
Thank you for
of
reminding me. That's one of my favorite fights of all time. I fucking love that fight. God.
That's because the Soul Society arc is some of Bleach's
So
best
good.
content. It's so good.
So good. This arc should take notes, man.
Yeah, it should. It's just
Yeah.
recycling some of the other points and the shite points of that. Let's
Yeah,
kidnap
a little bit.
somebody.
I mean, I suppose structurally, and like Bleach sort of does do this throughout, but structurally, the idea of like, okay, we have this one overarching mission. I guess in this case, it's a rescue both times. The idea of, oh, we have to like charge toward this thing, and we have to make it through this series of powerful people in order to do it, and we have to fight them sequentially and
Yep.
navigate this place we've never been to before. I mean, I guess even if it is a little bit rinse
The
and
same.
repeat, I kind of don't care. But I also think, like, I love a good, like, that's such a classic adventure story, and, like, it's fucking Labyrinth, too, you know? It's, like, it's so classic, and I love a good fight, so as long as there are characters that I can find some way to care about,
See,
I don't even mind if the plot is similar. I just want to watch cool people do cool
100%,
things.
100% for me is the characters have to be there, and I think that's why I struggled with this arc, and like these episodes in particular, because like some of these hollows and Arankar that we meet, I don't give a shit about. Like, there's nothing that's making me invested in them at all. There's only a handful that will come that we've met, like Grimmjow and Nukiora, that I'm like, fuck yeah, you guys are cool. Like, those are the fights I want to see. That's where I want the action to be. Whereas when they were going into the Soul Society, we got to meet lots of interesting characters. Like Chad's going up against Kuraku, and Uryu's going up against Mayuri, and these are interesting as fuck characters, you know? And I feel like this is why this arc for me falls right from the very beginning, from these few episodes, has already fallen flat on its face compared to the last.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I think you're I mean, not necessarily you're right, because what I'm about to say is totally a matter of opinion, but I tend to find more of the captains interesting than more of the Arankars. The Arankars that I really like, and everyone else I just don't give a fuck about. The captains, once again, the captains I really like, but I don't think there are any captains where I'm like, I straight up just don't care. I don't think there's a single captain that I just don't care about at all.
Especially because we had the undercurrent of like not only meeting their lieutenants and seeing the dynamics between the captains and lieutenants, but we also had this mystery, this kind of who killed like murder mystery thing to keep us engaged as well.
Yes.
We don't have anything like that right now.
No, it's like one singular plot thread.
Yeah, which has already been recycled from the last arc. Yeah,
good point. So I sort of wish they would speed it up, is I guess what I'm getting at. I feel like...
That's what I'm getting at. I'm just like, oh god, the thought of how many episodes we've got to get through for this, I'm like, hey, here we go.
Yeah.
It's like when your child drags you on the caterpillar roller coaster and you've got to try and pretend to be excited about that thing, and you're just like, yay.
Oh.
Like I was just on the fucking Pepsi Max. Like, why are you dragging me on this piece of shit? Anyway, that probably didn't make any sense to anybody outside of Britain. The Pepsi Max is the tallest roller coaster. I think they've rebranded it now. It's called something else, but it used to be called the Pepsi Max in Britain.
This is just for me now. What's the theme park that has that like vertical saw themed roller coaster? What's that one?
Oh god, what is that?
It's the only theme park in Britain I've been to.
Is it Throat Park?
Yes.
No. Yes.
No? Yes? That sounds right. I don't even remember what else was there. I just remember we waited in line for that for a really long time, and then we kept waiting in line, and then we were like, actually, this line is not worth it. Let's go do something else. So we left the line.
Throat Park. Yeah, I was right. Throat Park.
Yep. That's it.
Yep. Well, the one I'm talking about is at Blackpool, right? Biggest pile of shite is Blackpool, right? But it's like good
I've
shite.
Heard that.
It's like good. It's just fucking good shite, right? And it used to be called the Pepsi Max. I think now it's called the Big One, and it is the tallest roller coaster in Britain. And it like you go from like 0 to 5 seconds, you hit about 40 to 45 miles an hour. And on that roller coaster, I took a book so that when the picture came, I was reading a book in the picture.
Oh, that's really funny.
But it got ruined because the girl in front of me had the biggest fucking camel toe ever. My picture was ruined by it. It genuinely looked like it was trying to eat somebody's head.
You can Photoshop that out, though.
Fucking raging. Yeah, I could actually. That's a good point.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I just Google image searched it. I would love this roller coaster so much.
It's good. It's a very good roller coaster.
The part where you go in through the Pepsi cans is a little bit off-putting, but you know.
That's what it used to have, but now that's gone because it's not. It's been rebranded. I think it's just called. Yeah, it's been rebranded. Yeah. It's just called the Big One now, I think.
Understood. Okay. Well, anyway.
That was my tangent, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I also wasn't helpful because I was like, oh, let me remember the only theme park in Britain I've ever been to, but...
Sorry for the tangent, audience, it's fine. Look, he's learned something about Britain in that today, it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, we have to find something to talk about. These 2 episodes are fucking shit.
That's true. This is honestly, Lethan and I we looked at each other and we said, okay, these episodes are awful. So they're not awful.
They're not awful, but
I did earnestly really enjoy this and it was just a fucking tease, but just this little tease introduction to most of the Espada, which that's something that we can talk about. I feel and should talk about because it's kind of a big deal, and it's the first time that we're seeing most of them, right? We've seen Yami, we've seen Ulquiorra, we've seen Grimmjow. Is there anybody else at this table other Aizen, Gin, and Tozen, obviously? But I think that's is that it? I don't think we've seen any of the others.
We've seen snippets of them during the meetings, haven't we, in the background and stuff? We've seen
just
clips of them,
silhouettes and such. Yeah.
And this is the first time we're getting to see them all seated, and I
hear them speak.
I love the fact that the way that they sat, that first scene where we get the shot of all of them sitting down, is just a reflection of their personalities right away.
And just the various ways that they lay their hands on the table or not, how high they sit up in their chairs. Yeah, and it's little bits, and even, oh my god, do you remember? I don't remember. Well, no, lies. I do remember. I know who his voice actor is in the dub, so there's no way Michael Center Nicholas is listening to this podcast, but on the off chance that you do, I do love your vocal work. Thank you very much for your contribution to this industry. You're amazing. The giant Espada with the spoon-like collar behind his head, the very tall skinny boy with that long black hair. His vocal introduction in the sub, holy moly, it was like a shriek. It was very chaotic. It was uncalled for. So enough that you're like, oh, this person is gonna be extra. So extra. But that's all we got. Just that little tease.
That's good. It's good. Yeah, and then it says a lot about the characters that didn't talk as well. Some of them said a word or a sentence.
Right.
And then there were some there that didn't speak at all, and that gives us insight into them as well.
Oh, did anybody... Really? There were people that didn't speak at all?
Well, I'll admit, I had my head buried in the manga, but I'm pretty sure did the tall black guy, the big black guy speak?
Yes, very.
Did he? Right,
okay. A sentence. I think everybody got at least one sentence.
One sentence. Okay.
And some people said more than others, but which is also
telling.
Indicative of personality. Yeah.
I'm just trying to look back through the manga now to see who was it that actually spoke and who didn't, because I don't think everybody spoke.
And maybe it's different in the manga, actually. I'm not sure, but I think everybody got... I'm going through them sort of sequentially.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
I think everybody gets a little something.
They do. They all get a little tiny bit. Well, except for Yami, but we've already heard him.
Yeah,
he just gives a hum.
We've heard him plenty.
Yeah. It's good.
And I don't remember whether Ulquiorra actually says anything, but he doesn't tend to say much anyway, and we have met him before, so. But yeah, this is it's a weird, diverse crowd of Arankars with different aesthetics and probably different interests and priorities, and it was definitely enough, especially when I was first watching Bleach, that I was I was hooked and I was going to keep watching regardless of the slow pacing, and regardless, by the way, of the fact that I really didn't vibe with most of this. Nell and her 2 brothers and the big sandworm and all that. I don't know, man. And whoever the target audience is for that energy, it ain't me. So I was more than willing to push through that to get to learning more about these Espada.
Agreed.
I really like the Espada.
I think, to be honest, most of my notes I've taken are from the Espada in their room rather than anything else. But
oh really?
See Grimmjow and Ulquiorra's reaction to Ichigo appearing.
Oh my God, Grimmjow lost his damn mind.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Yes, and even you could see the reaction from Ulquiorra had a reaction, but it was a very Ulquiorra reaction. If you know what I mean, it was very subdued compared to Grimmjow's. But you could tell they're both eager in their own way for a fight, and to see what Ichigo could probably do.
That was also a moment which this is so stupid, and of course, more incoming, but you mentioned previously you had, what was the ship that you were I don't get this, and then you got it? Was it Byakuya and Kenpachi? Was that the one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have always been like, I understand, like, whatever, ship and lep ship. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at anybody for shipping anything. Grimmjow's reaction to Ichigo's name, the way that his eyes, that was the first time that I was ever like, oh, I understand, like, actually, viscerally where GrimmIchi comes from now.
It is the biggest, like, to anybody in the audience, because I know we've got a lot of people that listen that aren't part of the fandom community. Yeah. But like, obviously, we are the fandom community podcast, so like we do talk about all this and everything. Yeah, but like, actually, when you go to Archive of Our Own.
It's a huge ship!
It's the biggest. It is the biggest ship for Bleach on Archive of Our Own.
It's bigger than Byakuya and Renji? Really? Maybe
yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like Old Guard. Good God.
Yeah. Like, see, when you go to Archive of Our Own, you go into Bleach and then you click on relationships. The highest one with the most written pieces is Grimmjow and Ichigo.
I guess I didn't know that because I've never deliberately sought out fanfiction featuring either of those characters.
And then it's Ichigo and Rukia, then it's Byakuya and Renji, and then it's Urahara and Ichigo.
Oh, really? That's number 4?
Very interesting.
I don't like that. I don't like those power dynamics one bit. That makes me feel weird.
Yeah, to each their own. I know there's a lot of people in the server that ship it.
Right, and like, once again, not gonna like at anybody about that. I'm not gonna try and shit on any ships. Like, that's not what fandom spaces are for, ever. But
definitely not. But yeah, there's a few surprises in there, but then towards the bottom, like I say towards the bottom, but it's still classed as quite a lot of content written for them, is Gin and Rangiku, which is one
sure. Ooh.
Yup. It hurts.
Wonder what happened there. Can I be so... Are you looking at it right now?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Hello. Where is my boy and his husband? Are they on this list?
They are on it. Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
Let me count. 1,
I think
2,
I was like, they've
3,
gotta
4,
be. They're
5,
canon
6,
best friends.
7.
And honestly,
7.
if you think you can be... Okay, great. I'm just like, if you think you can be best friends in that way in a military environment for literally 2,000 years and like never have fucked, I just think you're confused, unless you're asexual, in which case, of course. Yep, that's all.
Oh, good. Yeah, but yeah, just
so once again, we reveal how disinterested we are in these 2 episodes, because Tangents for Days is the name of the game.
But that's literally all the notes I had for this episode.
I know, like, I don't have much either. I think I was intrigued by whatever Chad was trying to do, moving the sand with his hands like that. I think it signifies that Hueco Mundo is going to be a place of growth and exploration for Chad, and I think that's awesome, because I think he deserves that, and he deserves some of that focus.
And did you notice that came after the discussion at Uri?
Yep.
Thank you. That Shida was having with Ichigo about, you know, the fact that Quincy's and Hollows can like, use a Rietsu in the air, and then Chad starts playing with stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Yep, interesting.
Yep. Maybe we'll learn more about that, or maybe Kubo will just leave him in the literal dust. We'll find out.
That's all I had for these episodes, apart from the manga and anime differences.
Yeah, I guess other things that I made note of were just the fact that, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody at this point, but Aizen can subdue Grimmjow just by being like, hey, let me unfurl my spiritual pressure real quick, and Grimmjow literally... It reminds me of when Yamamoto brought Nanao to the ground back in the first arc a little bit. Yes, actually. I never thought about that before. So maybe now that Aizen is in this, like, acute position of power, he's, like, without knowing it, or maybe subconsciously is trying to emulate things that his former captain commander presented. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't imagine he sees Yamamoto as a genuine authority figure in any meaningful way. I don't see Aizen fucking with Yamamoto, really, you know?
No. Brings us back to that hypothetical, what if, like, Yamamoto fighting Aizen right now without the Hokyoku, who would win?
Oh my god, I think Aizen would sweep the fucking floor.
I think so, but you think that Urahara would beat Aizen, so you're saying that Urahara would beat Yamamoto.
Oh, I think Urahara would beat Yamamoto. Yes, I absolutely think that. Yes. Yep, no question. I would be...
I just want to see all of them fight now.
I want to see... This is so... Whatever. This is the kind of thing where it's like... it's a more fun fight if you have more information than you do at this point in the anime. But
Yeah,
can you
true.
imagine Kyoraku versus Urahara? Because I can.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
It'd be good.
I just want
It'd
these
be good.
two shady boys with their hats and their smooth talking voices and their sexy deep V's.
And their kimonos that flap in the wind and their...
Oh, God. Oh my God, what if they played a game where they have to knock each other's hats off? Can you imagine? Oh! Oh, God.
Oh, God, right.
Yeah. Okay, all this to say, I have no more notes worth discussing for this episode because I think most of this episode really isn't worth discussing. It's all set up, it's either set up or it's boring or it's both.
Yep.
Like
But I've got a couple of anime manga differences when we batter on with them.
Yes, please.
Alright, the scene of Uryu, Chad, and Ichigo running forever is anime only. In the manga, it's literally just them tired in the sand. So, like, we cut from, like, Aizen talking about them intruding straight to them just being tired in the sand.
I actually like that more.
With the whole sandstorm scene, the whole him pulling out that ball, the spirit orb thing, that's all anime only filler.
Ugh.
This was a point that I just wanted to note, right? I'm not saying anything about it, I'm just noting that this is a thing. The female Espada in the manga has the same colour of skin as Kaname.
Oh.
But in the anime, they've drawn her lighter.
I feel like Yoruichi gets some of that to some extent. Or no, well, yeah, sort of. Ish? How does it compare to, because there's one Espada who in the anime is like, you can see this person seems to be a black person. How does skin tone compare there?
I will need to check when that part comes up.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. Once we get that person, we'll pop a pin in it for there, because that will be interesting to see if it's certain characters are drawn slightly differently. But so in my head, she is the same skin color as Kaname.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's clear with the introduction of these Espada then that Kubo was trying to put more people of color into his cast, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's just, and of course, I don't know, these things were, because I suppose Kubo, we should see if we can find any colored images from the early days of the manga release of these Espada, just to see what he was thinking right out the gate.
Yeah, because we know that colouring has happened wrong before when we think about Ukitaki's eye colour and Rangiku's hair colour. We're not going to go there. Chad's explanation of the trees and the size of the building is all anime only. In the manga, Ichigo thinks the little human is male. So he says we have to help him because Nell is wearing a cape and a hood as they run. And so his first thought is male. And then we've got a small comic. Before chapter 246, we've got a small comic of Urahara waking Ichigo up with like a little French bonjour. And he's like, it's such an elegant way to wake him up. And it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but it's so funny.
Stupid.
It's so funny. It's like he's waking Ichigo up for something, but he does it saying bonjour. And Ichigo's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, but it was an elegant way to wake someone up.
That's really silly. I like that a lot.
It's really funny. And what I should say is these anime episodes are based off of chapter 244, which is Born from the Fear, and 245, The Way Without Enemies.
The Way Without Enemies?
Yep.
Huh. Is there anything in the chapter to indicate where that title comes from? That's a really unexpected chapter title, given the content, I feel.
Yeah. No.
If not, that's okay. Because sometimes it's hard to figure it out, and like every chapter has to have a name, and some of them are gonna line up better than others. But
it's probably because this also, like, that chapter also bleeds into the next section where we get Nell, and Nell's saying, "Oh, but you guys are the bad guys," so it's maybe got something to play with that.
Oh,
potentially.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
I'm thinking.
Huh. All right.
And that's it. That's me.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay, I suppose that brings us to honestly the least exciting canon episode I think we've watched so far. Episode
I think
146.
both of these were tied, to be fair.
Oh no, 145 was better because of the Espada. Like, that tipped
Oh,
it over
true.
the edge, for
Yeah,
sure,
that's
for
true.
sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I could have taken or left the rest of the episode, for sure.
I
but
will
the Espada
admit
were
there's
interesting.
like the 146 had something that I really liked, but this is me, obviously, and it is
That's
the
okay.
little
I'm curious.
the little insight into Byakuya's growing relationship with Rukia and Renji, where he's given them the capes to go to the desert.
I think I was so focused on how much I like didn't care about the rest of the episode which, by the way, that little moment, that was what, a minute and a half of screen time for like that very exciting glimpse into the evolution of a character that a lot of people really like. Like, what?
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Wait,
I love it. And in the manga,
was so good.
Like, she does, I mean, in the dub, she does say something similar, but it's not quite got the same impact as the manga does. But in the manga, Rukia, when she's saying what Byakuya said to her, she said that Byakuya said about Ichigo, let that little punk run around Hueco Mundo for a little while and see how they like it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Isn't that fucking brilliant?
He's so petty, but like he chooses the best moments to flex his pettiness. I love that.
He's such a good character.
He is. And he's
like,
oh, God. What a smart thing to say. Like, I don't know why. That's very good.
It's so good. The more you reflect on that sentence, the better it becomes.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, sure. I can't say it without laughing. Let that little punk run around Hueco Mundo for a little while and see how they like it.
Oh my God, that is so
so
that is
good.
One of the best sentences in the whole entire manga. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yup. It's so good.
I love that.
Like, how much death and destruction Ichigo fucking caused to Seireitei, and he's just like, it's like unleashing a rat somewhere, to just cause as much devastation as possible.
That's bullet in a china shop energy.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of the other thing that I just thought about is, the repairs to Soul Society, to the Seireitei in the wake of the Ryoga invasion have got to be ongoing, right? Like, they destroyed so many buildings.
Yeah.
There was so much collateral damage. I just think it's wild. And I know that everything is fucking made of reishi, so like it can't be that hard, but also, wow.
Yup. Oh man. That's like my favourite part of this episode. It's Rukia's little blush as well when she's talking about Byakuya, so that's telling us that obviously their relationship is way beyond what it was originally. They're starting to grow closer as a family now. I thought it was very interesting that Renji showed up and he considers himself a friend of Ichigo's, and I'm like, cool, is this now like a mutual respect of these two that are growing close together because of all the fights they've had? Or is it because Renji, after speaking with Urahara, understands how important Orihime is, and it's reflecting on him wanting to go and rescue her from the previous episodes, that he's also like, I'm going to go, but also I don't want Rukia to go alone.
And also, knowing that Rukia and Renji are such close friends, Renji definitely, whether Rukia has actually articulated this, and I suspect she hasn't, but Rukia doesn't have many super close friends, and we know that she and Orihime had this really cool relationship, and so Renji is probably aware of that and is like, I want to save my friend's friend.
Yes, and obviously the fact that Rukia is really good friends with Ichigo now too.
Oh yeah, true, yeah. Yeah. So I always forget that, and it's only the foundation of the whole entire anime. Whoops.
It's Rukia introducing her boyfriends to each other.
Oh god. Yeah. Oh.
Sorry. Oh. Right. Speaking of which, Rukia punching Ichigo in the manga, it ends up with a bloodied nose. It's so good.
I think if I've learned anything from the past series of episodes, it's that I really love it when Ichigo's friends slap him around. It's really good.
It's very funny.
Stupid. I kind of like it when, because Bleach is so, I've said it before, that there's a really good balance of action and high stakes and intensity and then humor within Bleach, but there is a particular kind of humor that Bleach does, and I think a lot of shonen anime tend to do this, but sometimes, like, when it's just stupid, I just love that. I just think it's so fun. And and it's like shameless in that way. Like, Ichigo getting slapped around and then flying across a room is really stupid, and I'm so here for it. It makes me actually laugh, and I think it's great.
Yup. Agreed. Speaking of laughter, I will admit
I thought you were
had a
gonna say
moment.
speaking of stupid.
I mean, no, well, that too, to be fair, that too.
Good.
Nell knowing the word masochist.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That was a moment for me. That was a big moment, because obviously, like, to me, that ties back into that humor of, once again, when Rukia first tries to go into the world of living and blend in, and she calls Ichigo a big boy, and he's like, don't use that language, it's disgusting, where did you learn it? And it's like tying that, it's just once again showing that these Arrancar don't have the same etiquette, I guess, the same upbringing as, it's just that little introduction, that little insight. But I will admit, I did laugh. I shouldn't have, because it's really inappropriate when you think about it, but I did laugh. I laughed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got something different and certainly more serious out of that, which is kids repeat what they hear, and it just makes me wonder what kind of environments this kid has spent her time in for her to, and she used that word correctly, you know?
She did. She very much did.
She knows what it means. So yeah, it's I because of that, more than almost anything else, I'm curious to gain more insight into the dynamics of these various Arrancars and Espada. I suppose we don't know whether she knows them or anything like that, but like, she's a humanoid with a mask, broken, but it's a mask, and like, she's full humanoid. She looks way more humanoid than fucking Pesce and Don Chaka.
And the only people there that look as humanoid as her are the ones in Aizen's tea party.
Yeah. Icebreaker came close, I suppose.
That's true, yeah.
Icebreaker looked pretty humanoid, but he had his mask covered a lot more of his face. Yeah. So that's something to put a pin in. And yeah, yeah. What has this kid seen is, I guess, where I went to with that.
It was more Ichigo's reaction that I laughed. See, when he's like,
fair.
he punches him and he's like, what have you been teaching this kid? I'm like, well, Ichigo, Ichigo, you know what this word means? You're quite young as well.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. By the time you're 15, you've, like, watched TV shows and movies and read books and shit. And, like, also, I don't know. I could see Ishin throwing that word out in jest, and then it being like, hey, wait, no, actually, Dad, maybe you shouldn't use that word as a joke, and him being like, oh, sorry, I'm from a different generation and still have to learn these things, or whatever.
True. It's very funny, though.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Well, because I'm kind of like, there's part of me that's like, okay, we spent a lot of time with this new young Arrancar, this Nell person, and I guess it just... Oh, I guess I did have something that I thought was kind of neat. And I think it's been a theme running through this arc so far. No pun intended. Like, running through. Ha ha ha. No, I don't deserve that, but thank you. You're very generous. The way that Nell introduces Pesce and Don Chaka, who I hate, but even so, like, they're, whatever, I don't hate, I feel the same way about them as I do about those shitty mod souls, you know? I'm like, somebody is trying so hard for comedy, and it's just not fucking funny. Like, it's just, like, there's stupid, like, Ichigo getting punched, and then there's just stupid, and I don't particularly... I don't know. And maybe if I were, 7 years old and watching this, I would feel differently, but I am not. Anyway, Nell introduces these two as her siblings, and it reminded me very much of what we learned about the way families form within Soul Society, especially within the Rukon district, but even beyond that. You can just kind of show up here, and if you latch on to certain people, you can build your own found family, and it is perfectly fine, and it is taken as read that you are a family. These are your siblings. These are your parents. That's cool. And Hueco Mundo seems to operate in the same way. Now, whether siblinghood can exist in other capacities in Hueco Mundo is something that we may explore in time. But this found family thing is available in both Soul Society and Hueco Mundo in very similar ways.
Yep. Yes, and it's interesting to think about that because they're not so different. I mean, they are, but they're also not.
They're like mirrors of each other. Oh my god,
Yep.
which Aizen Zanpakuto, the name of Aizen Zanpakuto is Kyoka Suigetsu, which is, oh gosh, I'm gonna mess up the order of these things. Here we go. Mirror, flower, water, moon. So he's got both mirror and moon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something about, like, no matter what from the beginning, based on who he was, Aizen was only ever going to do something that, even though he's trying to, like, divest from Soul Reaper culture in this really specific way, was he always fated to do something that kind of mirrored this other society of spirits? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
Deep
talking
stuff.
out my ass a little bit, but maybe there's something there.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah. And do we know the release? We've heard the release command for his Zanpakuto, haven't we? Have we not? I don't remember.
We've heard it for Hishikai.
Hishikai? Yes. Okay, so shatter, which is something that mirrors can also do. Mirrors can shatter. Dubious connections. Like I said, this may mean nothing.
Yeah. Still good though. Still good to discuss. Hey, we've got to discuss something. These 2 episodes were lacking, alright? I will take mirrors.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's nice to reflect.
Like a mirror?
Yeah. Right. Will I do manga and anime differences, or have you got somewhere
I think
else?
you should, because we are clearly scraping the bottom of
yeah,
the
we are. Right, okay, so these episodes cover the last chapter, a little bit from that last chapter, into chapters 246, The Great Desert Bros, and 247.
What?
Well, I don't know if it's bros.
Desert Bros?
Well, I don't know if it's bros or if I've just shortened it. It might just be the Great Desert Brothers that have just shortened it because.
To God, it's bros. I love that.
Hold on, let me go back and just have a little look.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I'm gonna be so upset now if it's not, and like I've just said that, like it's my scribble.
Mildly disappointed.
Oh no, it is the Great Desert Bros.
Oh hell yes. That's my favorite chapter title now. There we go. I reserve the right to change that later, but for now, in this moment.
In chapter 247, United on the Desert. So that's what it's kind of between these 2.5-ish chapters that we've got. In the manga, Nell is sitting. She's got this moment of sitting on Ichigo's lap as she explains about the Arankars, and how they serve under the Espada and everything. And Ichigo's like, "What are you doing on my lap?" And I thought that was really cute. In the anime, they're standing and they're talking down to her, but yeah, it was anyway. The anime, and this is anime only. Nell and her brothers have that huddle, and then they steal Ichigo's Zanpakuto, and then they go into the game of Eternal Tag. That's all anime only. In the manga, it goes right from Nell saying that they're gonna kill us to the big sand hollow popping up, and then saying, "I'll fucking kill you, Zen," effectively. Yeah. Right. The anime only, again, at the very end of the episode when the big sand demon pops back up, like that does not happen in the manga again. Rukia obliterated him. But obviously at the end of this episode it's like, oh, and he's back, but that's not in the chapter. So I reckon whatever happens with him in the next episode, it's safe to say that's probably going to all be anime only for that.
Sure.
And in the manga, there's a little sketch between episode 246 and 247 where we find out that Urahara woke Ichigo up to give him a watch that will electrocute him if he gives it the wrong command, which I thought was still very funny.
What?
I wish I'd been paying attention to these little sketches as the comic had been going on, but It's obviously got a purpose, but like a bit like the headband thing, your hair's like you have to give it this very specific instruction, otherwise it will electrocute you. But he doesn't tell Ichigo that right away, so
Oh,
Ichigo
so maybe
says the
he's
wrong
fucking
thing.
with Ichigo
He's
again.
just
Oh,
fucking
that's
with him. It's good fun
funny.
though. It's good fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's me. Oh wait, no wait.
Oh,
There's
oh,
an R2 on the other page. Hold on. We have Nell asking Rukia her relationship with Ichigo is all anime only,
oh.
and that's it. That's it. That's now I'm done.
All right. Ugh, that was an instant. The anime was like, we gotta fill up this time, so we're gonna
Yep.
try and give the people what they want, and then it just turned out to be. Well, I don't know. Maybe there are people that are like, oh, relationship. Ho, 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 ho. I don't know. I'm also like, as much as I love shipping in the fandom space, I am not a person who watches a shonen for relationships. Like, I will
Agreed.
devour a josei all day long, but that's the point. Shonen, I'm here for cool fights and action adventure shit and friendship and
Agreed.
all of those
Agreed.
good things.
I
Yeah.
will admit, like when I first watched all of Bleach all the way through, I was convinced Ichigo was Ace. In my head canon, effectively, that's just how I see him.
Oh,
But in my fic writing, he is not.
yeah, and yeah, huh. It's just yeah, romance and relationships just are not generally the point of a shonen, and which is also like Heike why I get a little bit disappointed when they seem to be endgame in some of these big shonen. So like
Yeah, agreed.
look, so like if the One Piece manga ever ends, then, like, maybe they won't do that. I don't know.
Yeah, that whole they lived like 10 years later, they lived happily ever after with kids is like the ending to everything always ever, and it's
so
annoying as fuck.
frustrating to me because it's never the thing I've cared about. Like, I don't mind an epilogue where you get to see where people ended up, but if the family and relationship thing is a tangent at, like, I would rather learn more about the careers and the achievements of these main characters. That's what I'm more interested in.
I would like to learn more about just the day to day. I know we've said that a billion times,
Oh
but
my
see
God,
that
I know.
how the paperwork works, how the Soul Society runs, how they choose their officers, like the captain test, like that's what I want to know.
Yeah, I like that kind of detail in world building. Oh, it's so yummy. It's so
Yep.
delicious. I
Yep.
love it. I just love it. Like,
And that's why I'm so excited for Turn Back the Pendulum. Like I cannot
oh my
physically
God, I know.
wait.
And we're actually not too far away.
Don't. Oh God, I can't. Oh, I'm so excited.
Listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, that's okay. Just know that I think all of us, I guess I don't really know how Shiki feels about Turn Back the Pendulum, but I know that Nomi and I are fucking stoked as hell.
Yup.
For so many reasons. And it's just, yeah, I don't want to give anything away. It's just, it's a really unique arc that zooms in on a lot of really good characters, some of whom we've met and some of whom we haven't spent much time with, some of whom we get to zoom in, we get to learn a lot of new stuff, and it's
Beautiful.
it's just very good. It's just
so good.
There are a lot of ups and downs. We get to learn a lot of important information, character stuff notwithstanding.
Just like hang on, like listeners, hang on. If this is your first watch through Bleach, right, we just have to get beyond some of this shite that we're in right now. But I promise you that arc is worth it. It is worth the wait. Right. That's all I'll say.
It's absolutely worth the wait. And I would even say that some of the content that is both before and after that arc, like once there is a chunk of Bleach that we are fast approaching, even if it doesn't seem like it. That is, I would say it's kind of tied with like the entirety of the first arc for my favorite chunk of Bleach.
Yeah.
I would say once so we all know that everybody is training and preparing for this big war and this big showdown thing between Soul Society and Hueco Mundo and between Aizen and the Gote 13 and all that. Once, it's not even a spoiler to say that, like, yes, that face-off is going to arise at some point. Once we get there, that is one of my favorite chunks of all of Bleach. It's just so good. I just really like it.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Turn Back the Pendulum happens in the midst of some of
in the middle of that, yeah.
Yeah, so we're not far away from some really good stuff. So even though Lethan and I spent so much time this episode just kind of shooting the shit because we were like, these episodes categorically suck, I will say they're also not terrible. It's just that you and I, Lethan, know that there is so much of Bleach that is just so good and that tugs at us and that is animated well and that has exciting fights and exciting character insights, and these episodes are just not that, so by comparison they seem lackluster.
Yep, agreed, 100%.
Yeah,
it's that we know you can do better. We're not angry, we're just disappointed.
Yeah, it's like if I were Paul Hollywood, I would look at these 2 episodes and I would go, it's not your best work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking through my notes.
I've covered everything, so I'm good.
Yeah, I have too. I don't have anything else to say about these episodes.
Nope, me neither.
Okay, great. Well, hey, good work. I think we made some pretty good work of 2 episodes that didn't really have much going on. I'm proud of us.
So am I.
Chaos Brain served me well this morning. I suppose it's afternoon now for me. For you, but even so. Right. So, we've got some small news for delving into the Dongai, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got official now confirmation of the Super Stage in Bleach anime news on the 18th of December at 6 p.m. in Japan time. So, very excited for that. So we should hopefully hear on 18th of December we should start to get some Bleach anime news. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we're hoping for. But I'll just say take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I'll say. Like, I'm not getting my hopes up for a date or a trailer or anything. But I mean, like, I would love that. I would love it. But I'm just not getting my hopes up.
Sure. All right. Well, fingers crossed, and we'll see how that unfolds. Sweet. So I suppose we should move on to Shinigami Cup Peroxide Edition. I don't know what I was waiting for there. Hey, Lethan, who do you think wore it best this week?
I've put Aizen wearing his British.
Nice.
What about you?
I know it's just kind of his face, but I put Ulquiorra at the Espada meeting, and his face just had a look of like, why am I here? And I thought it was a little bit fun. I mean, he's kind of like over everything. He's too cool for school universally. He's everybody's favorite emo prince.
Yes.
Move over Timothy Chalamet. But yeah, that was mine. Okay, best ship.
I've put the new family bond between Rukia and Byakuya.
Mine was very similar.
Oh, what have we got?
Mine was Byakuya and his, depending on how you look at it, either what's that? Byakuya and his like midlife crisis manifesting his teenage rebellion or something. Like Byakuya and rebellion is the ship, but it's like, oh yeah, now we're just tapping into this energy because he's been a good kid for so long, and it's like, well, now that shit with my parents is out of the way, what happens if I bend the rules? And it's like kind of a really good look for this beautiful petty bitch. I'm a big fan.
He's so good. It's so good. It's great. Just that whole, well, I promised I would go and get you back. I didn't see what I would do beyond that, so whatever.
That's the other
so
thing.
Good.
He is now finding loopholes because promises have gotten him into trouble before. Can you imagine? Yep. So, like, previously he was like, oh no, I made 2 promises and they both conflict. Well, there's no way out of this other than hating myself.
Is this him taking inspiration from Ichigo when Ichigo says, well, I would have fought the rules in, and Byakuya didn't even consider that, so now he's thinking, well, what other fucking loopholes am I missing?
Yeah, and maybe Renji a little bit too. Like, Renji pushes boundaries in a way that Byakuya never dared to, as far as we know, so...
True.
Oh, he is experiencing growth and change, and I am proud of him.
So good.
And he looks fabulous while he's doing it.
He always does.
He always does. All right. And last but certainly not least, double take.
I've put the art for chapter 247. It is a
Ooh.
double sprayed. Fuck, see, that's my brain combining 50 words at one time. It is a double, two double pages of artwork from Kubo, and it is like, actually, hold on, let me take a picture and send it into the chat just so you can
Oh
see
yeah,
what it
please
is.
do.
Let me fucking find the bitch. Where are you? Where'd you go? It is this piece. Don't you dare twist that around, phone.
Ooh, this is
Here we go.
great.
Yes, so
That
it's
is
like the two, like
beautiful.
you flip the page, and you've got, so for listeners who can't see this art, it's Renji, Ichigo, Chad, Rukia, and Uryu all facing towards the left with like their swords and everything drawn, and then you flip the page, and on the other side of the page is Aizen, Kaname, and Gin all looking towards them to the right. But they look very chilled and relaxed, except for Kaname, who's got his sword drawn. But it's
It's
very good art.
so dynamic.
It's
Oh
very
my
good.
god, I love that.
And I love the contrast of colours as well, because obviously he's put Uryu in the back for a reason, and that's to hide his white. And then
Yeah,
you've
good
got, it
point.
seems to be very black for the lot of them, but then you flip this page and you've got the white on the other side of the page. It's very yin yang feel again.
Or chess.
Yeah. What is it they say? White always moves first.
Yeah, well, white does move
So,
first. Yeah,
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's
Yes.
effectively what Aizen did, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, he really did. Shit.
Mm.
Cool. My double take has a really different energy, and we've already touched on it. But it's sort of in reference to my double take from last episode, or maybe it was my best ship. I don't remember. I called it out during the Shinigami Cup last episode, but it has to be Ichigo getting bitch slapped by his friends once again. I just like the fact that it happened sequentially twice in very quick succession. I just lost it, and I just think it's really funny when Ichigo gets slapped around. Followed by that lovely bro high five that Renji and Rukia share after they achieve their mission of, oh right, bitch slapping Ichigo around. It was great.
Very
Loved it.
good. Ugh.
Yeah. All right. Fandom shout out for this week.
Okay, so mine is a little bit different this time.
Ooh.
So I have, and this is now that we're consuming more of the anime and more of it is opening up to us, there is still a lot, what I would like to say to the audience is there's still a lot of spoilers in this that I'm about to post, unfortunately, but that is the way of some of this. This is an AMV. So for those of you that haven't heard, an
Oh
AMV,
no, is
which
this what I think it is?
back in the day stands for animated music video or anime music video, depending on your topic. And this is by Fireboy AMV, that's his name on YouTube, and he's done Grimmjow Jaggerjack AMV The King. And it is a very well edited. So if you've seen all of Grimmjow's character arc and development and everything, I highly recommend watching this. It's very well done.
So I hit play and I listened to a little bit of the song and I was like, oh, okay, because what I thought this was going to be was a reference to a Disney movie about lions, and it is not that.
Oh, like a Lion King.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh, I just can't
that's where
wait
I thought
to
we were
be
going.
king.
I'm sure that's been done.
Oh,
I'm
that
not
would
sure,
be
but I would be
great.
surprised if it hasn't been done.
That would be for so many reasons. That would be good.
It would be epic. Yeah,
It would
and I don't
fit
even know.
so well.
It really would. I'm never gonna do that. Like, I don't have the time to make AMVs at the moment. But if I also, I don't know. I don't think I would make funny ones. Really, I think I would try and be all fucking artsy boy about it. But whatever. Not doing that. So don't get your hopes up. If you do, it will be in vain. I promise you that. So, my fandom shout out is a little bit different this week as well. And like Lethan's, I would say I'm glad that I can share this now because we're starting to encounter some of these this broader cast of characters, because Bleach, as we all know, has so many characters. But some of this, so okay, I'm just gonna say this is a Tumblr that hasn't really been active since 2017, which is like a year-ish after the manga ended. It's called Texts from Hueco Mundo. And
oh my god.
do you know them?
I think I've seen some of
Yeah,
this,
so
and
they're
it's
not
good.
they probably haven't rolled up on your timeline in a little bit, but I mean, like, people still reblog them because they're very funny. So if
Yes.
y'all are familiar with texts from last night, I don't even know whether it's still active. It's I think it was just a website where you could submit your area code, and it would say, oh, this is the area code that this is from, and it would just be like wild texts and silly texts and funny texts from people within your area code, and you'd submit them anonymously. And so a trend that I think I don't really, not that I don't know why it went away. It's just, things move quickly in the internet, and Tumblr is a hell space of chaos, and that's how it goes. But I say that with love. Like, I'm still on this cursed website after how many years, because I still think it's actually very good. But so people will take either manga panels or comic panels or like screen caps from TV shows, that kind of thing, and put the texts into speech bubbles or put the texts over some of those images. And so this is a Tumblr that put texts from last night over panels from Bleach, and there are some really good ones that feature like Hueco Mundo mode Aizen, and a lot of the Espada and a lot of the Iran cars. There's definitely stuff from the final arc on here, so even though it's not going to give you all of the content, like, you will get to see some characters who look a little different, or who, like, it is pretty popular to, like, have... There's one I'm thinking of in particular where there's a character who has a pretty important fight in the final arc, and they are, like, on the ground looking wrecked, and people put text over them on the ground looking wrecked, and it's really funny, and it's you'll just have to take my word for it. So I'm not gonna, like, say what any of these texts are, because the visuals really add to the whole entire experience. You're gonna want to probably just scroll through, but I'm dropping a couple in the chat right now for Lethan to peruse, so that she can kind of get a sense of what they're like. So there's one, I guess I can yeah. So there's, like, a shot, for example, of Gin, Tozen, and Aizen, like, looking all bold and sexy. And the text, it says, is from the area code 978. I don't know where that is. But in the text bubble, it's Aizen effectively saying, "It may be a clusterfuck, but I'll be looking classy as shit as I watch the nightmare unfold." Which doesn't sound funny when I just say it, but the visuals, I think, make it pretty funny. I'm gonna drop another one, and this one I just want people to encounter for themselves.
Okay.
I feel like you're gonna like this one, Lethan.
Okay, right. I'm a very slow reader, so give me a second.
Yeah. Oh, wait, shit, I sent you the wrong one. Whatever,
Oh.
This one's still good. I'm just gonna send you all of them. I don't fucking know. This most...
Oh my god, Dale!
Are they good? I didn't write these! So, if you're okay with some spoilers, go through and enjoy.
That's
it. It's a good little site. Tragically not active anymore, as far as I'm aware. But...
It might come back, though. Who knows? It might come back. Maybe a lot of these will come back. I don't know who
runs the Tumblr, so I'm not sure what they're doing or where they've been lately, or whether they're still involved in the fandom or whatever. But yeah.
Oh god, that's good.
Isn't it good?
Yeah. I would just say, some of these have an element of not safe for work to them, like you've got.
Yeah, not the images, but the actual text content.
Text.
Yeah, like there's definitely. I would say it skews towards stuff about, like, largely sex, but other than that, and, like, sometimes alcohol, like content warning for sex and alcohol for some of these. But if you're okay with that and you're okay with mild image-based spoilers, then have at it, because it's a damn good time.
That's so much fun. That's so good.
Yep. Okay. Do we have anything else to touch on before we close this out?
I think we've talked enough crap at people. Yep, I think we're good.
I agree. I was like, it actually doesn't matter at this point whether what we have to say is about Bleach or not, because we've the rules right, and we have been taking a leaf out of this new Byakuya's book and being like, screw the rules, we have money, except it's not that we have money, it's that we have too much time on our hands. Except not really, I actually don't. Why am I still here? You know what? We're gonna bring it full circle, and I realize that it's, as I said at the top of the episode, like, I love you. That's why. I'm so tired, Lethan.
Oh, Dale. If I was there, I'd give you a hug consensually, of course.
I would literally start crying probably, and like happy, comfy tears of relief. But I think if I were next to you right now and you hugged me, I would just fully cry.
Oh, it just makes me want to hug you more.
I know. Oh,
Fuck distance.
Ugh. I know. Big mood. Well,
you do realize that half the people in the server now are going to start to ship us, but I don't know how that name would even work.
God.
Like, we've just started that.
Huh.
Especially since me and Geisha apparently broke up.
Oh. There's a... What? That's a whole journey. Oh, no.
We had a divorce. Because there was a bot in the Discord server that was causing us issues.
Oh, no.
Did you not hear about any of this, no?
No, I've been so busy!
Okay.
Occasionally I duck into the server and I, like, say things to people for all of 2 seconds, but I haven't been keeping up with anything consistently.
Okay,
really.
A little bit of context. In this server, we have a bot, right, that allows you to do sprints. So if you're writing or doing homework or anything, and this is for people, I guess, listening that don't know, we've got this bot that we can program, and you just fire in a command and it will program, and away it goes, right? And at the end, it will tag you in the next 3 sprints that it runs. So in order to not do that, you have to say, forget me, and then it will forget you from that, and it won't tag you. It stopped doing that for me. Everybody else could say forget me and it would forget them, but it was clinging on to me for dear life. It was actually, every time I said forget me, it was like, your ID is not recognised, but it would still continue to tag me. And so it became this whole thing that apparently I was cheating on Geisha because I was now with the bot and the bot wasn't letting me go. And I'm like, I am a victim here. And I'm being
that
like,
doesn't sound consensual.
No, it was not consensual, but that didn't stop
you literally
everybody.
Did not consent to being tagged.
Exactly, and then Geisha had the audacity to get upset at me, and I'm like, fucking bottle kissed me, I did nothing wrong. No, like, funny upset.
I was like, I wouldn't have thought. Okay, great. Because I was like, this sounds far too silly, and Geisha's a rational person.
Yeah, no, Guy is. Guy's brilliant. Guy is brilliant. And then we broke up, apparently, in the server. Like, it became a divorce in the server. Mum and Dad broke up, and everybody was very upset about it, so I'm on the market.
Uh-huh. Well, the listeners can do with that what they will, or preferably not. I don't know. As much as I love fandom spaces, like real people fan fiction really weirds me out. I'm like, these are people
what is
who
up
actually,
with that?
I don't know.
Like, but the purpose of, like, see if you look up the definition of shipping, it specifically states fictional characters. Like, it specifically, true? Yeah.
Well, because I think about like K-pop fandoms and stuff.
Yeah, but it's become more than that now, hasn't it? People are now saying shipping for real people, but it never was that. If you look up the actual definition of shipping, it is fictional characters.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if you've got, like, for example, in the Marvel universe, if you shipped, like, Iron Man with, I don't know, Wonder Woman, like, that's fine. The two characters are
Wonder
fine,
Woman
but if you
is DC,
shipped...
but that's okay.
But crossover. I'm thinking crossover fan fiction.
I got you. Okay.
But, like, because originally I was like, who else is in the Marvel universe that would make sense? I didn't want to upset anybody, so I just reached for something.
I mean, I assume, like, people with interests in specific dynamics are, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man specifically. I know there's a fucking market for that. Like,
yeah, but that's, like, dad. I got dad vibes from that. I didn't get... anyway. Yeah, anyway.
You know I love a dad.
Yes,
you know I love a dad. And, like, Loki, I know that he has had his ups and downs, but I also like Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
Because young me didn't know what to do with myself when I saw those Sherlock Holmes movies of all things when I was, oh lord.
Have you seen the ones with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Oh yeah, but
like,
that's a whole, it's a really different energy. And I also,
totally
like, the Robert Downey Jr. ones are set in the period as well, which, like, I'm a sucker for Victorian turn of the century, whatever bullshit, so. I say bullshit, it's not bullshit at all.
We went on another journey there.
Did we? I didn't notice.
All of it. Like, we just went on a big journey. It was great.
It's just what happens when you're in love, I guess. Oh no, stop me. Oh no, I guess I should probably read the outro.
Yeah, before we talk any more shite at the poor audience that's listening to this episode.
Hey, listeners, you're the best. If you stuck all the way through this episode, I don't know, I'm kind of like, what did you think of this freeform nonsense? Was it awful? Did you like it? Would you like more of this? Would you like less of this and you never want to hear it again? Like, I think we're at the point where like we've adhered to our structure for this podcast for long enough that like I'm quite curious to see what you all think of how this is going. And actually we are coming up to the end of a season, not just yet, but we're coming very close to that. So we might be releasing a feedback survey or something similar pretty soon, I should think. Yeah?
Yep.
Maybe?
Yeah. We usually do that, yeah. Plus, it's coming up to the end of the year. I feel like, at the end of each year, we should definitely do it.
Yeah, good point. The fiscal year for this podcast, we have no funds and no finances, so that was a great joke for, like, nobody.
We do this because of the love for Bleach. That's what we do it for.
Yeah. We get paid in smiles, except we don't know how much we're making because this is audio only and we can't see you smiling through the computer or through our phones. I'm gonna read the outro now.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. As you can tell, oh my gosh, finally, after much ado, you wonderful souls, that is the end of another episode. If you like what you heard and you want to get involved, you can find us by searching for TheSeireitei on Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook, and TSeireitei on Twitter. Each of these platforms will link you to our fantastically deadly Discord family, where you can chat with us about the show, read fan fiction, take part in creative challenges, and talk anything and everything Bleach. Now! That was a good one. Yeah.
No, I swear you take longer and longer every single time we record.
People interested in this really stupid bit that we're never gonna let go. Y'all, guess what? Ichigo and Rukia might reap souls, but we're hoping to reap some 5-star reviews. And that is where you come in. Make like our favorite orange-haired protector, get bitch slapped one time, and then Ichi go to iTunes to rate us and review us and make us feel like number one. And to those of you listening on YouTube, don't forget to be like Chad and give us that good thumbs up. We really appreciate it. On the next episode of the podcast, we will be covering anime episodes 150, Oath, Back Here Alive Again, and 151, The Raging Storm, Encounter with the Dancing Arankar, which, just to note, that means we are skipping episodes 147, 148, and 149 because they inexplicably are filler episodes. As if this part of this arc was not going slowly enough. So I would, it's like as filler episodes go, I find these 3 pretty engaging, actually, but they are not canon content, and as such, we will not be covering them on the podcast. Go ahead and watch them if you like.
I'm pretty sure they make Rukia seem really weak, if I remember correctly.
They did not treat her super kindly. Yeah, like, largely when it comes to mental capacity and fortitude, like, she just seemed... She wasn't with it. Like, she was kind of OOC the whole entire time, I thought. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That said, like, they don't suck. There's a hot boy, so, like, if you're a sucker for a random hot boy who you'll never see again, then, like, these are the episodes for you, I guess. Yeah, so anyway, that's why. We are skipping those, and we're going straight to episode 150. So if you want to join us if you want to come along with us and join us for our discussion and walk through of canon episodes, that is where you should pick things up. 150. So, yeah, there you go. We will see you souls then. Till next time. Bye!
But do you know what, right? See if you do come to Britain and you go to Blackpool, right? This is anybody.
Well, okay, but
why
would I go to Blackpool?
Because of the Valhalla.
Wait, what?
The Valhalla is, at the time it was built, and maybe it's still just now, I don't know, the biggest indoor water roller coaster.
Oh.
And it is amazing. Like, it's so, like, you go on, like, this
Viking
but it's
ship. Viking oh, shit. You know I'm Norwegian, right?
Oh God.
Fuck. Oh no.
I thought you were American.
I am, but my ancestry is predominantly Norwegian and a little Danish, but mostly Norwegian. Yeah.
Well, you have to go on now. Honestly, as you wait in queue, you get to buy a water poncho. That's how wet you get on this ride.
Aw,
And then you
jeez.
they put you in, you get into this long boat thing, and it just dunks water all over you. And then it pops you in a room that's minus 20 degrees Celsius, and then it puts fire over your head. It is phenomenal. And at one point, you go backwards in darkness. It is great.
It's probably because there are multiple iterations of this is not going in the podcast. I don't think. There are multiple iterations of hell in the Norse mythos, and one of them is very, very cold, and one of them is very, very fiery. And hell doesn't really exist in the same way that it does in. I almost called Christianity a mythos, which honestly fair, but hell means something different, is I guess what it comes down to.
There we go.
Niflheim and Muspelheim. Anyway.